Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Second time needs to be a charm. We don't have time for a third time. If you've been to any of my trainings, you know I don't give up easily, but sometimes the tech can be quite an interesting journey. So I ask you to be patient with me. I hope that you're still here. Once again, I'm going to take a moment just to share this live so that you can find us. Some of you have been having a hard time finding us, so I apologize for that. But we'll make sure that you find us tonight. So as you tune in, take a moment to introduce yourself, share at least one thing that you got out of your participation the last 4 days. I've been in communication with a lot of you. Some of you are inspired, some of you are in action, some of you are a little behind and you're trying to catch up. Wherever you are, just know that you're totally fine. There is absolutely no rush as we have at least 15 more days. There's a few more days than 15. I'm not trying to calculate days right this second, but you know that you have plenty of time and I will make it available for you until the end of the training so that you can catch up with what you missed, participate in the homework and everything else you would like to do. Okay, so let me put day 4 and I'll put it in the group. Everybody should be able to see it there. Mm, and we'll start with the last in just a second. So if you haven't introduced yourself, if you haven't shared at least one thing, and this is my invitation to be able to do that once again. We're getting started in just a second as soon as I'm able to highlight. There we go. I think we're good to go. And I invite you to just take a moment and relax wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Maybe grab a drink of choice, sit back, grab a blankie, or make yourself comfortable, take your shoes off. I want you to get the most out of the class. And the best way to get the most out of the class is being fully present, immersed in the material, and with no distractions. What we have going on today is very interesting. It's talking about energy. What is draining your energy? And we're going to talk about a lot of the things that are related with that. But first, I want to talk about energy itself, right? Energy. When we talk about energy, sometimes we wake up and we have a lot of energy and we feel energized, vibrant, alive, enthusiastic, energetic, all these things. Sometimes we wake up and we don't feel like doing anything at all. Now, there's ways to activate your energy. Certain things activate our energy. A good shower, exercise, good sleep, good conversations, food that is made at home naturally with the best ingredients. All those things are going to help us feel better, right? And so the energy is going to increase, improve, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, a lot of times we don't think about the energy that we exchange with people, conversations, relationships, interactions, situations, misunderstandings. That could be another place where energy gets sticky, and many times the disagreements or misunderstandings can cause us to waste a lot of our energy, mental, physical, emotional. And so I invite you to include in this energy exchange and energy, managing that you actually become aware that your energy either will go up like a spiral going up, or the energy will go down. And so when we think of everyday activities, what we're doing, whenever we're doing whatever we're doing, how do we feel? Do we feel energized, alive, enthusiastic, looking forward to what's coming? Or do we feel exhausted, drained, and like we're not feeling great, right? Certain people could make us in one conversation go from feeling great to not feeling great or to feel absolutely not good at all, right? Sometimes conversations with narcissistic people or bosses that are unfair or situations with people that are not being so kind can actually put us in that place where we are feeling that drain of energy. But there's other things that we do in our life that are related with our self-care and the way we operate and how much we prioritize our self-care or not. that will allow us or not to feel aligned. And our self care should be our main priority. Finding peace, feeling well, energized, positive, all those things should be our priority. But as a mom, as a woman, as somebody who works in corporate America or owns a business and needs to be able to um, operate that business, sometimes we actually don't put that self care as a priority, and it has a great impact. And so today we're going to talk specifically on what are the things that make your energy go up and what are the things that are making your energy go down, and how can we fix that? How can we make it so that you are not draining your energy and that everything you do, anybody you're spending time with, all the activities you're doing throughout the day allow you to feel better instead of draining your energy. And so, with that introduction being made, we're going to go right into the theme. And I'm going to relate it with the theme of our training today, right? Like today is all about what is draining your energy. And the overarching theme of the training is 21 days anti-aging protocol to awaken your inner lioness. And so we want to think of energy as the greatest anti-aging medicine. So with people that are good energy, upbeat, energizing. There's no maybe wrong. There's no manipulation. There's no, um, lacking respect or anything like that. Automatically, we're going to feel much better than being with negative people or people that criticize or that make people wrong or that expect a lot but don't give so much. You all know the deal, right? There's certain people that are not going to be there to provide and to increase the energy, but they're takers. And so we have to be very aware when we are in contact with these people. And when we notice that we're feeling a little more drained or exhausted around certain people, limit contact or put some boundaries in place so that you don't find yourself stuck having to deal with these people all the time. Maybe it is a work person, right? You have to deal with them regardless. Keep the relationship professional, relate to them to the best of your abilities, but you also don't have to overextend. You really don't have to go above and beyond when you don't feel so comfortable and or that the relationship is fair. And so one of the biggest misconceptions that we have about aging is that it's simply making us lose energy, right? And it is not necessarily so. If we are always putting self care first, and we're eating right, and we're resting, and we keeping the quality of life and the stress low, then we're not going to go into that place where we feel that aging means that we're draining our energy or that we are expiring or we are no longer as good as we were. And so we want to think of getting older as an opportunity to transcend, advance, become a better version of ourselves. And with the wisdom of the years, many times you learn things that allow you to not waste your energy or drain your energy with things that are not worth it. And so many women are not really low in energy per se, but what happens is they have a job, they have a family, they have kids, a significant other. Some of them will have also a business, maybe elderly parents, some other responsibilities in the community, in the kids' school, other projects in the community, maybe something faith related, spirituality, some gathering you are participating on a regular basis. And so all these things spread our energy around and dissipate our energy. We have to be here, we have to be there, we have to be there, we have to be there. And when we get home and we sit down, we feel like simply depleted. There's no more energy for ourselves. There's not that sense of feeling vibrating and excited and enthusiastic and all the things that we're talking about. What we feel is drained, exhausted, burned out, and there's not much life left in ourselves. And so we have to start becoming aware so that when we become aware, we're able to change the way things are. We notice, we don't tolerate it, we change the direction on where things are going, intercept, interrupt, change the direction, right? It needs to be quick when you become aware of it. You don't want to sit there and notice for weeks that this person makes you feel exhausted after you deal with them, or there's certain situations that drain your energy and that you don't need to expose yourself. Some of us are highly sensitive people or highly empathetic. So in certain situations where there's groups, certain people, certain situations, certain conversations tend to drain our energy. And so we have to be aware, cognizant of that, responsible for that, and forgive ourselves if we just simply cannot be in a group of people where we feel like that dynamic, certain people, certain topics make us feel drained, and allow ourselves to withdraw and or limit once again contact with these situations that would drain us. Because we have many different ways to talk about energy. When I got certified as a yoga instructor, we talked about energy as the Kundalini energy. In yoga, they talk about it and they talk about prana, life force, also in English. Prana is the Sanskrit name, but life force in English or prana in Sanskrit. When you study Tai Chi or um, other martial arts as well, use Ki as the way to describe that energy, that life force. Simply said, that energy is something that starts at the root of your spine and it goes up, like doing this serpent kind of movement all the way up through the spine. And as you go up, it kind of crosses like this. So if you see sometimes the images that are represented in doctor's office, it really represents like it has a cross and then it has sort of like an image crossing like this, and it's a representation of optimal health. Why? Because our energy moves that way. It goes up through the spine. It goes from right to left. Ida is the left side of our body, which is the feminine. Pingala, which is the right side of our body, is the masculine. And to the extent that we can mesh these energies and balance them going up through the spine, we're going to have what we call optimal health. But another thing that happens is when we awaken that serpent that is at the bottom of the spine, and this is a metaphor that we use when I studied yoga, that the serpent is coiled up at the bottom of the spine. And when you do exercises like breath work and or heat in the body with different movements or positions in yoga, you heat the bottom of your spine up, and that heat is going to start making the energy go up, like I shared with you before. And in that process, what it's going to do is it's going to hit all the centers of energy, commonly known as chakras. And when it goes, the energy goes through the chakras, the centers of energy. These are metaphorically a circular motion that go in a certain direction, right? Clockwise. If you find them that the energy is rotating the other way, it's not going to be the optimal functioning. So as the Kundalini energy, prana, life force, ki goes up through the spine, what is accomplished is that sense of unblocking and aligning the centers of energy known as chakras. And in that process of unblocking and aligning, it's also allowing the energy to flow more freely and going higher in the centers of energy, the chakras, to get to the crown, which is our open to divine energy. And so right here, third eye is going to be intuition. Right here, the throat chakra is communication. The heart is the love, unconditional love, right? Solar plexus is confidence. And so we want to just really use that energy to awaken, to balance, to align, and we want to also diminish the contact with the things that are draining our energy. So today what we're going to do is going to do a little bit of an exercise together, and I see people are popping in, so I'm glad that people are finding it today. I know we had a little bit of a mishap the last few days, so I apologize about that. So what is true is when the energy is stagnant, stuck, not flowing correctly, the chakras are stuck, they're somewhat blocked or misaligned, the energy is not going to flow correctly. It's not going to be empowering. It's not going to be freeing. It's not going to be lighter. It's going to be causing density, darkness, and not sense of flow at all. And so every unresolved trauma that there is or emotion is going to be in that spine stuck. Every unhealthy relationship is going to be emotionally stuck. Every boundary that you don't put, times that you should have said no and you ended up saying yes, is going to be stuck emotionally, right? It's a metaphoric way of getting stuck. You don't see it with the eyesight, but you can feel it, you can sense it, it happened, and then we have to figure it out a way to release, let go, melt some of that dense energy that gets stuck in our body. So every time you say yes when you meant to say no and you feel obligated. So all those things that we do when we overextend, when we spread ourselves thin, when we don't prioritize our self-care and we don't make ourselves the most important thing, our peace, our self-care, our rest, all the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves, we end up being in that position that a lot of women are, especially women in middle age, which is on the verge of burnout or already in the burnout feeling. And it's hard to recover from that because we still have to cope with life. We still have a lot of demand. There's still going on. A lot of stuff is going on. It's not that we can say, okay, I'm going to take a 20-day vacation. I'm going to disappear from the earth and go charge my batteries, feel better, increase my vibration, or whatever way we want to say it. And I'm kind of mocking the situation, but truly, usually we have to keep on functioning. So we have to find a way to do things that charge us up again, that align us, that make us feel in purpose, that make us excited, that is a form of vocation, and allow us to create our purpose because that is the true sense of life, to fulfill our purpose, to make a difference, to leave a legacy behind. And we are required to have health for that, but sometimes we focus so much on the purpose or the mission or whatever we want to accomplish, or we overextend ourselves with distractions and people that expect for us to be available for them. And we forget that first and foremost, we need to have faith in ourselves and whatever other thing that you believe in, maybe God, spirituality, universe, call it however you want, but you have to have faith. And then you have to have a sense of purpose in life in order to be fully satisfied. Because if not, we become hopeless. If not, we aim and don't find purpose in life. We're not really working for anything. We don't have a goal. We don't have a sense of being alive. And so for us to be able to find that purpose, to be able to prioritize our self care, it will be a battle that is already allowing us to win. When we know why we're here, when we're working towards our mission, our purpose, our passion, which in turn will be your legacy, then we won't feel optimal health. We won't feel. And many times when health is in some sort of disarray, not optimal, we're worried about something, a condition, some sort of result, or not feeling great, or whatever the case might be, then we are not able to focus on the purpose and or the mission that you want to accomplish. All our energy is going to be focused on getting better, overcoming the condition, improving the health, because it's hindering our capacity to function ideally and to feel energized and in optimal health is not going to allow us, if we're not in optimal health, it's not going to allow us to have the kind of energy that we need to fulfill our purpose. And so I invite you to lean into finding that purpose, living a life of purpose, and really using this opportunity to align with your optimal health, making yourself a priority, not feeling guilty, and to really truly commit for the next however many days we have left to really bring the self care and your health, all the things that you need to be happy, to be joyful, to be fulfilled, to be living a life of purpose, to make them present. I hope this 21 days is a way to get started an engine that probably was a little slow or stagnant or whatever the case might be, and get it going again. And just align with your health, find your purpose, and being able to be inspired about the legacy that you're going to leave behind. And so let me see. When we have our body in survival mode, we talked about it yesterday, right? We start having cortisol being pumped. We are in a fight or flight situation. We're not going to have the nervous system regulated. And that is also a drain for us. Imagine um, cables that are doing short circuits. It's sort of like that. When we're not aligned, when we're not taking care of ourselves, when we're not nourishing ourselves, then it kind of starts making us feel like totally misaligned. Sometimes we feel like we're on the verge of burnout, or we feel resentful of doing so much and not being able to put our self care first. And so, my invitation is to become aware that everything costs us energy. And it might look great to skip the gym or to not work out today or tomorrow or not do yoga or not meditate or not eat right. But we're always going to have to end up paying the price of that lack of self care. It might show up as not feeling great today, or it might show up as a lower sense of energy or vibration, or it might show up long term. Sometimes conditions or diagnoses come up because we're so stressed out that we don't take the time for self care. We don't slow down. We don't meditate. We don't take care of to prepare our food from scratch. We buy the quick and easy and we put it in the microwave or whatever the case might be for you. And we have to start kind of slowing ourselves down and noticing what are the things that matter the most. Our health is the most important thing. Other than having our health, we cannot really prioritize anything else, because when we don't have our health, then we're not able to do anything else. So it would not be smart to focus on anything else other than prioritizing your health. And once you have that aligned and you have that foundation of being able to take care of yourself, working out on a regular basis, having some sort of meditation or mindfulness practice, eating right, resting better and more quality sleep, then when you have that foundation, you are able to keep it up. But initially, it might take like full focus and intentionality and a big commitment. And then you have to do the little actions day after day until you get a little result. When you get that little result, you're gonna celebrate that result. Pat yourself in the back. Go and do something for yourself. Acknowledge the effort and the victory. And once you have that, you're celebrating the first little win, then synergy takes over from there. All you have to do is keep on showing up. Don't retreat. Keep on showing up. Keep on going. Keep on going into that routine of self care and prioritization of yourself. And so we're going to go into a few reflection questions, and I'm going to give you an opportunity for you to ponder, and then you can share about that in the chat, or you can share about that when you do your homework, whatever way you decide. But I would love for you at least to think of yourself and your life and see what resonates and what is true for you, and becoming aware of the things that no longer serve you or distract you or drain you as a way to not allow that to take over, paying less attention, walking away from it, setting boundaries, saying no, all the things that we need to do. So let's take a few quiet moments and journal or think about it. If you don't have a pen and paper next to you, let's just think about it, right? Becoming aware, noticing, being conscious of the things, right? Question number one would be, what situations consistently, um, what situations consistently leave you feeling exhausted? What situations consistently leave you exhausted? Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a place, maybe it's a job, maybe it's a community of people, but just take a moment to notice what are the things that consistently leave you feeling drained, exhausted, that it takes from you and it's a minus versus being a plus. Question number two is, who energizes you and who drains you? Certain people are uppers, they're excited, they're vibrant, they don't complain, they're enthusiastic, they celebrate, they're light, they're not needy. And some people are completely the opposite, right? And so people that are needy, that are expecting, that are judgy, that are whatever it is, right, are going to drain our energy. And the people that are positive, that are light, that are generous, that are compassionate are going to uplift our life. So become aware who are the people that you hang out on a regular basis that you maybe don't want to hang out as much, and make the corrections necessary so that you can actually empower yourself and you don't expose to the people that don't make you feel good, and you don't give energy away to people that are takers and not givers, that do not reciprocate that kind of interaction, right? So let's go to question number three is what responsibilities no longer feel aligned with you and who you are becoming? When we think of the future and what we want to manifest, what we want to align with, what we want to create, we can't think of the future and think of one day, maybe someday I will be there. You have to think of the future like it is already here, right? And so you have to kind of propel yourself forward to embody the version of you that is already gotten to your goal, your destination, to your victory. And that includes the embodiment physically, mentally, emotionally, the way you speak, the way you express yourself, how you feel, all that embodiment is going to be who you are becoming. So, what are the responsibilities that no longer feel aligned with who you're becoming? Maybe you overextend yourself. Maybe you say yes when you mean no. Maybe you tend to volunteer yourself for things and then you regret being so generous or always thinking of helping out because you barely have, a handle in your life and you need more energy to dedicate to you. And that is very common for people that are, heart centered and uh, want to make a difference and leave the world a better place. And so start being mindful of that. Give yourself as much energy as you give the world and make sure that you are taken care of before anybody else, because if not, it becomes a drain. You're going to end up burned out, and conditions and diagnoses come out of being in the burnout phase. So I don't recommend it. And a good way to prevent it is to give yourself energy, to make yourself a priority, to not feel guilty for it, and being really intentional about it. That this is a non negotiable, that is something that I put like a recipe ingredient that cannot be missed. It's important, it's required, it's imperative that I don't forget that self care. And I put it in first, like that ingredient in the recipe that makes that amazing flavor, right? So let's go to question number four, and I have one more after that. Question number four says, what emotions have you been carrying for too long? What emotions have you been carrying for too long? Maybe some situations from a childhood, things that didn't settle well, that you didn't understand, you didn't forget, you didn't forgive, that made no sense, that felt unfair, whatever the case might be. Those are things that you're still carrying. Past relationships, past situations with jobs, businesses, friendships, places where you live, communities where you interacted with. Sometimes we carry those things, even though we left the place, we left the people, we left the relationships, we left the things, then we still carrying the baggage. We're still questioning ourselves, making ourselves wrong, wishing it was different, reminiscing about the situations and how they went down. And so those are things that can also be a drain for our energy. And we need to learn to release, forgive, be graceful with ourselves, and, just gentle, quite frankly. We tend to be so demanding of ourselves and we don't forgive ourselves. We beat ourselves up. We make ourselves wrong. It's so hard to please ourselves sometimes, right? So lowering the level of demand and being able to nourishing yourself as well. And stop carrying the emotions that don't belong to you. Somebody can be needy, somebody can be upset, somebody can be expecting whatever it is that they expect from you. Maybe sometimes they don't even communicate, so they expect you to know that they expect. It could be an upset, it could be, I don't know exactly how it could be for you, but you know what I mean, right? When we feel like we're giving, 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 we don't get anything in return and we feel obligated to give. So I want to have you become aware of that because there is a way out. There's a different way. And you just have to become aware, not tolerate it, and operate it in a different way. And these questions are helping us uncover in places where we're carrying things that doesn't belong to us or hanging out with people that drain our energy or not doing enough to fill up our own cup before we do for everybody else. So then we become burned out, exhausted, and we don't want to people too much because we're drained, right? And let's talk about the last one of the questions. If you honor your energy as your most valuable resource, what would you stop doing? And this is something very important, right? If you honor your energy as the most important, valuable resource, what would you stop doing? Maybe it's procrastinating. Maybe it is making yourself wrong. Maybe it is demanding so much from you. Maybe it is stop beating yourself up. Maybe it is stop overextending yourself or feeling bad, feeling shameful, feeling guilty. All these emotions have no value in our interactions and in our relationships. And sometimes we carry that significance, that density with us. And that is part of what drains our life force, our ki, our prana, and or kundalini energy, however you want to call it. We end up being drained, exhausted, and there's nothing we can do right there in that moment to bring ourselves up. It takes a process, a time, period of time in where you kind of have to step back, slow yourself down, and make self care a priority. When you get to that burnout, then health can take a toll, emotions can take a toll. Many people just get depressed, anxious, deal with mental health crises, and things like that. And so, what we're going to do is create a list, and this is going to be part of the homework, where you put all the things that give you energy and all the things that drain your energy. One list, what gives me energy. One list, what takes energy away from me. And I'm going to give you some examples, but I always tell you, come up with your own list. Think of your own examples. If you cannot come up, then use some of these examples. You can come back and re-listen to this part. For the examples, it could be nature or breath work or movement or reading or prayer or quality sleep or meaningful conversations or time alone. Yeah. And you can put all of that as energy givers, things that nourish us, that make us feel better. And let's look at the list of energy drainers. Examples of energy drainers can be people pleasing, gossip, negativity in the self-talk, or in conversation with other people. When we're gossiping and we're talking negative things about people, that can be an energy drain. Social media overload when you're scrolling all day or you're like comparing yourself with other people or feeling hopeless because XYZ is now dating or lost weight or had a baby or whatever the case, got a promotion or bought a house, whatever it is that we compare and feel less than sometimes. Stop doing all of that, right? And then after that, clutter, physical space clutter could be extremely draining. Toxic relationships can be extremely draining. And saying yes when we mean no. So simply notice when you finish your list of what gives you energy and you finish your list of what takes away your energy, just simply notice and don't do anything with it. This is our awareness exercise. It's not to fix it, it's not to address it, it's not to change it. It's just to notice, to become better at identifying the things that are a plus in our life and the things that are a minus. Okay? So we're going to go into an affirmation and then we're going to talk about one more thing about the homework. Lioness affirmation for today. I honor my energy as sacred. Every choice I make either nourishes me or drains me. Today I choose what gives me life. Yeah, choosing what gives you life. It's important that we are intentional, we're focused, we are aware, we put a boundary with ourselves, we are disciplined, consistent with all these things because only us, we don't expect anybody else to do it for ourselves. It's our own self-care, it's the way we feel. And many times we have to do a little bit of, make a little bit of effort and focus until we're able to shift the dynamic and or add a new routine of self-care. Things like that are important. And so take your time, but just know that that's what's going to happen. You're going to have to generate this transformation. It's not going to happen seamlessly. You have to make a commitment, discipline yourself, and be consistent. So for the second part of the homework, before tomorrow's lesson, we're going to spend the next 24 hours from now until maybe 8, so 23 hours, observing your energy. Yeah. And every few hours, ask yourself, is this what I'm doing right now giving me energy or is it taking away energy? Spending time with people, being at work, doing your business, going to the gym, working out, doing yoga, doing a class, whatever it is that you do, just notice, is this giving me energy or is it taking it away? And then write 10 things that either fuel or drain your energy, right? So that's the list that we were doing. You already got that set, which is list of what drains me, list of what energizes me, gives me energy. So the exercise is becoming aware, not trying to change it, not fixing it, not addressing it in any way, just noticing and being quicker at noticing, right? I say it's 5 to 15 minutes. You don't want to tolerate that behavior for 3 hours. We want to address it as soon as we can. But right now, we're just practicing noticing, being quick and identifying. And I think that's all we have for the material. I want to know if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have something that you will want me to expand on. I see a few of you in the chat. I think a few more are in the group. So I am here for you. And in the meantime, I'm gonna also invite you to join me tomorrow because tomorrow we're gonna have the live at 8 p.m. once again, and then Saturday is going to be early in the morning. I think it's gonna be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time that I'm going to do it. So if you're able to participate, if you can be there with us tomorrow at 8 p.m., I'm inviting you to participate. And let me look and see if there's anything else that I want to share with you guys tonight. Yes, we have to do the raffle. I had a lot of people doing the homework. And so I want to, first of all, congratulate you for your effort and putting one foot forward in regards to doing that. The winner for the raffle for yesterday will be Tammy. And how about we do two for today because we didn't have one yesterday. The other winner will be Rusty. I know Rusty is traveling, so she might not get this message, but I will reach out to you. Yeah, so Tammy and Rusty are the two people that are the winners for today. Keep on participating for your homework on your homework because that's going to help you becoming quicker at identifying, changing the direction, transforming the behavior and changing the direction. And so for the ones that already won the session, planner session will do something that will make a difference for you with what you're dealing with and how you feel. Create a next step with your transformation, your self-care, and your optimal health. And I invite you all to participate again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, same time. If you have comments, questions, anything you want to share, feel free to post it here in the live or send me a message, and I will be posting the homework and sending the email in just a little bit. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a beautiful night. I will talk to you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Bye bye.